Hello everyone, my name is Pepsilk and today I'm going to be talking about Kill Knight, a game made by Playstyle Studios and published in my home country Australia. I actually first heard of this game from Steam's new and trending page, seeing it gain traction and viewing the game as an ultra responsive twin stick shooter, which I won't say no to, but decided to wait until the user reviews kicked in. This is followed up by an incredible panel they had at PAX Oz last year, showing the game off to a major audience, and the game managed to gain even more traction that way. I also have a friend who wholesomely gifted me the game as his brother had worked on the game along with some fan art, which just looks incredible and gave me more of a reason to try this game out. So, if you're watching this video, thank you once again for gifting me Kill Knight. Let's get into it, shall we? Kill Knight is a twin stick shooter set in Playstyle's representation of the abyss or the depths of hell, so to speak. You play as a loyal knight who gets betrayed and sent to the abyss for punishment and must fight his way out to gain his power and restore his body up in the surface. Pretty straightforward story. You start on one of 5 layers or levels, each unlocking as you complete one after another and must survive for an X amount of time, killing monsters and racking up a massive score, essential for these kinds of games. The game immediately reminds me of Devil Daggers, where it's a similar premise but instead being an FPS, spawning in an arena and killing monsters for as long as you can. And I wouldn't be surprised if Playstyle got inspiration from this game. What makes Kill Knight stand out from other twin stick shooters is its loadout system, where you choose your own gear, which includes a pistol, sword, armor, and heavy weapon, each having their own traits and bonuses. This system adds a ton of variety and play styles, allowing you to play however you like, and there isn't a bad option per se. I went over to the high score leaderboards for each of the levels and saw players running many loadouts, creating this idea of not having to play the meta or use what's easier, because it tells you that, yes, I can go for the highest score in the world with whatever I want to use. Though it never hurts to try their loadout and see whether you like it or not as well. You only have one option for each piece of gear the first time you play, as you have to earn the items by either completing challenges, which can be general and layer specific, or by completing layers entirely to earn currency, which can be spent to fast unlock items. Difficulty settings are available, with each difficulty increasing enemy damage, attack, and movement speed, as well as decreasing player damage, with the first 3 difficulties, Regret, Acolyte, and Night being unlocked, followed by Sufferance being unlocked after completing all layers. Kill Knight's gameplay loop is incredible, giving you plenty of options and ways to build up score and destroy all the monsters. The game encourages you to use all the tools at your disposal, not just one. Pistols are more or less used for early game and killing fodder trash. Swords can be used to wipe out packs of enemies, like what you see here with my Whirlwind sword, and heavy weapons are used for the big boys and enemies with high HP pools. This also works in combination with the game's Wrath/Overdrive system, allowing you to juice up your weapons and deal more damage. The pistols work off of an active reload mechanic, similar to Gears of War, and executing this will trigger your pistol's unique trait. This system also works in tandem with your sword. Heavy weapons have access to Wrath Bursts, which triggers that weapon's unique trait and blows everything up on your screen, particularly the guys with the purple colored armor, triggering an explosion when hit with it, which is just so satisfying. Other nice moves include powering attacks, killing an enemy almost instantly, going into slow mode like your Max Payne, and executions, essentially glory kills from Doom. Blood gems are your main source of score and are required to build up your kill power, which is a way of increasing your total damage, which can remain for the entire run if you don't lose your combo. Basically, the quicker you kill things, the more score you get. Miss a blood gem or fail to kill an enemy within a few seconds and your combo will drop for good. Doesn't mean you'll lose your score or the game per se outside of dying, you'll just lose out on that damage and result in a lower score. It all flows so well that when you get the habit of just doing these things naturally, you'll feel like a proper machine just mincing everything that gets in your way. If you enjoy killing monsters and chewing bubblegum as much as the next guy, consider liking and subscribing to the channel. If you're new, I'm Pepsilk and I make gaming content, from reviews to news and anything that comes to mind. Any support is appreciated, and I thank you guys for sticking around this far into the video. The enemy variety in Kill Knight is pretty solid, with plenty of fodder and special enemies to fight to keep you on your toes. It's also important to note that while regret difficulty may be a thing and is regarded as the game's easiest difficulty, it requires you to be active and methodical at all times. In the game's first 2 layers, it was pretty solid on Acolyte difficulty, But after that, the game ramped up significantly to the point where I had to drop the difficulty to regret for the final 2 layers because I kept screwing up my combos and dying so often that I'd probably have to put a good amount of time in to get confident and run through those high difficulties. It's difficult, but the good kind of difficult, where playing over and over again and learning the enemy spawns and timings, since nothing is randomized in terms of the levels, creates that Souls-like conquering feeling. You know, that feeling when you spend hours on a boss and eventually kill it and cry on the inside? That sort of feeling. Heck, the final boss has 2 phases and I couldn't get to phase 2 on Acolyte, but as soon as I switched to Regret, I was able to wrap it up in a few tries. Also, shout out to playstyle for making you not have to replay the entire final level to get to the boss when you die. They were kind enough to give you a checkpoint when you get to the boss. Can I just say that visually, Kill Knight is one of the best looking twin stick shooters I've ever seen? From the blood splatters to the red and black color palette to suit the representation of the abyss and the visual effects shown on display when raining down on your enemies, I've never seen anything quite like it before. Its minimalist aesthetic and retro visuals reminds me of the old school shooters of the 90s, like your Dooms and your Hexens. Upon completing the game, on top of that new difficulty is a new game mode they added with their last update called 7 mode, which combines all 5 levels into one massive arena challenge, alongside having its own leaderboards. Some of the game's challenges can be hard to achieve, like completing a level without failing an active trigger, or completing a level without ever running out of heavy ammo. Thankfully, the unlock system helps to alleviate this a bit, so it's not too bad, but things are costly, which results in putting time in order to unlock gear that way. As said before, the game is difficult, but it can be a bit much at times, with so much visual clutter happening at any given time, and it can be hard not to get frustrated if you just die due to clutter. This can be adjusted by turning off blood in gameplay settings, but I feel like you should be able to enjoy and see the gore for yourself instead of just outright removing it for a gameplay advantage. The game runs like butter, just be sure to cap your frame rate for the best performance and experience. No need to adjust any graphical settings off rip. Difficult, brutal, and satisfying, Kill Knight is a game I recommend to everyone who loves twin stick shooters and is looking for something to put a good amount of time into. I got about 8 hours of playtime across the different layers and got my fix after finishing the game, which to me is short and sweet for the amount of content available. Achievements, the 7 mode, and leaderboards give the game replayability and is a game to get good at, should you put the time into it. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Bit of a quicker video than usual, but given the game's length and things available, there wasn't too much to go into. If I missed anything, comment down below. I'll have more coming to you soon. Peace.